Back at Gateway International Raceway. Glad to have you with us. Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie. I'm Jerry Punch. Shannon Spake, Mike Massaro covering the action on pit road. This is Danny Efland, the short track ace out of Irmo, South Carolina. Irmo, if you're not familiar where that is, you've heard of Timmonsville, hometown of the legendary Cale Yarborough, just down the road from Timmonsville. Danny, an accomplished short track driver there at Timmonsville Raceway and getting a chance to make hopefully his 11th start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
He was a little bit careful getting down into the corner and making sure he's got his car completely under him. He doesn't want to let a chance like this to start another race get in the way. He doesn't want to make it any more eventful than he has to, and so he get him a good starting spot here, a reasonable starting spot, and then go race tonight. That's what's important to him, of getting the laps tonight.
Getting the valuable experience on this racetrack. He ran here a year ago, started 33rd, and only got to run a few laps. He was credited with a 43rd place finish, dead last because of an electrical issue, so he never got much experience here on this track last year in the summer heat.
He's going to get some this year. He's guaranteed to be in the race now just by being in the points, and he can just get he's got a conservative lap going here, but he will be in the race tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be a good half second fast if he makes it off turn 4.
We were just saying he's being conservative. He must have heard us. Picked it up just a little bit.
Another one of the young guns, just 19 years of age, and he is third right now of the 3 cars that are going to have to qualify. Let's check in with Shannon, who's standing by with our provisional pole sitter.
Well, that's right, Doc.
Andy Ponstein, next car to go out to qualify, and the former snowmobile racer out of Jenison, Michigan, 32 years of age, driving for Corey Stott.
It's about as far from snowmobile racing as you can possibly get here this afternoon at this
today.
racetrack.
Boy, it's some kind of hot here today. I really like Andy. He comes to the racetrack driving his motorhome, and he's got a young family, got some young kids he brings around and hangs around the motorhome lot. It's really neat to see these guys traveling together.
Living a dream, and this Corey Stott, by the way, if you know Ramo Stott, that's the family we're talking about, Corey the son, and they're giving drivers from the Midwest opportunities. Like they said, they know this kid, Andy Ponstein, I should say, has a lot of ability, but you just got to give him some track time to get him on the racetrack.
Yeah, Corey's a great guy. I worked with Corey back a long time ago when I worked on Benny Parsons' team. He was part of our little shop that we had there, and I've spent a lot of time with Corey. He's a great mechanic.
He slowed down a little bit on his second lap, but it'd be interesting to see. You know, we have no idea really because, again, a lot of the guys didn't make these mock qualifying runs yesterday, and again, the temperatures weren't nearly as hot as what they are here today, to see how that's going to stack up and will that time get him into the race.
This Casey Atwood is one of the guys that was one of the young guns a few years ago and drove for Evernham, had a bright future, but seemed to just get derailed a little bit. He lost his ride, and he's trying to get back in this series and be competitive again. He's got a lot of talent, and he might be able to get back there if he can just land a solid ride, and he's got an opportunity with this team right here. It's Ken Christopher on your right.
He was the youngest winner in series history when he won at Milwaukee back in July of 1999. 18 years, 10 months, and 26 days of age. He's a former pole sitter at this racetrack. Won the pole here back in 1999, so he knows the racetrack, getting a shot to get back in a pretty good race car here for this race tonight.
That's Ken Christensen. I said that wrong. That's his crew chief.
Not a bad lap. Got him in 26th on his first and 34.67. And you look, and we know the name, and he's been around, it seems like so long, but he's still only 27 years old. It's amazing. So it's a young man that still has a lot of talent and is just looking for that right opportunity. And he is a very nice young man, and a young man that has a lot of talent, and you hope that he gets that right opportunity to show that.
Everyone thought he was the next Jeff Gordon when he came along. The young guy with so much talent, ability, and it just didn't seem to be able to get the connections, all the dots to connect there on the rides that he had. Now maybe getting a chance to circle back into the series again.
And right now he is the fastest of the go or go home cars that have qualified so far in 17th, so that should be a good enough lap to get him in the race.
Yeah, it hasn't locked him in yet, but it will put him racing tonight, and with a decent starting spot. This always has to be difficult when you're out there in this position trying to go out and you haven't been in the cars that much and trying to make a really good qualifying lap. And so you like to see what these guys are made of. This kind of tells exactly what they can do. So we see Johnny Chapman the next on the track.
Here's Here's the 90 car, Johnny Chapman, and this team had issues yesterday. They had a fire, pretty significant fire here with the with gas backing up through the carburetor into the breather and back onto the headers, and they had some issues to deal with down in the garage here.
A lot of times it's just a people mistake that happens. You got fuel lines going up there to the carburetor, and a lot of things like that. And it's all about the details when you're working on these race cars. Something real small like that can cause you a big problem, and it did for these guys yesterday.
Yeah, as you can see, they have no sponsors on the car, so you know they're working on a very limited budget. And I was talking to Johnny in the garage area yesterday, and he was talking about how difficult it's been for them to get this coil binding effort figured out because there is so much to it. You can talk about it. It sounds pretty simple. Okay, let's just put springs in there. They're going to go down there, and they're going to, it's going to coil bind when we get down in the corner. But there's a lot more to it than that, and they were having a difficult time figuring that out.
By the way, these are the go or go home cars that we have to get on time and speed. We mentioned earlier that Derek Cope was on the 5-minute clock early on and did not get to go. I said he will not be able to go tonight. I mean, he did not be able to go in qualifying. He will be in the race. The Jay Robinson car will get in by virtue of owner's points. Just the fact that Derek Cope was not given a chance to qualify because they couldn't get the car ready to go within the 5 minutes that NASCAR allows.
That's a lap that may be borderline, that 34.86. Could be borderline for getting in the show.
Next car to go out, Brad Baker, who is the son of Gary Baker, who is the co-owner of Baker Curb Motorsports. Brad lives in Bristol and Johnson City area, just down from the racetrack. Let's check in with Shannon.
You can fix that car to where it'll be competitive.
Yeah, it looked like they had a lot of help from a lot of different teams and people jumping in there. And that's, basically what the NASCAR community is about. When somebody has problems, it's interesting to watch as you see different people come in there and help and try to work to make that happen. But there's a lot of work there.
Back at Gateway International, just a few cars left to go out to qualify, and the 84 car was normally driven by Mike Harmon. It will be Kevin Lepage in this car, the Shelburne, Vermont driver, two-time winner here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series in his career, and he's got a handful there trying to get this car to turn.
It looks like he doesn't even have a sway bar on the car. It probably is something wrong with that sway bar system because that car's rolling over way too much. And you can see now why we run such big sway bars. The car really wants to turn over. This car here is either not got a sway bar hooked up or something's really wrong right here. The car is not supposed to roll over that much.
Yeah. That to happen. That's a bad feeling as a driver. You're wondering exactly, you make a change or something, and obviously this is the worst time for something like that to happen. If you're in practice, you'd brought it in immediately, but Kevin doesn't have that option right now. He's trying to get this car in the race.
Yeah, he has to make a lap, a good enough lap to get him in the race. It's going to be a difficult thing to do with this car handling like it is.
He's got to beat a 34.44 to get into the bubble. He does not do it. Casey Atwood locked in. Mark Green is locked in. And right now, Kevin Lepage is the slowest of the cars of the go-or-go-homers that have gone out to qualify thus far. 4 of those cars are going to go home, so he's got to have hope that 4 of these cars coming up will run slower than a 35.87.
And that's not likely to happen. That's probably going to be a lap that's going to fall short of making the race.
Speaking of supreme efforts, 66-year-old Morgan Shepard out of Conover, North Carolina. Talk about a guy who works so hard with so few people and does so much with so little. Shepard here in the Dodge, the 15-time winner in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Really, loves to be here and is just so thankful for the opportunity to be here and be a part of racing.
You were just saying, I always had this saying, he's done so much with so little for so long, he's now qualified to do anything with nothing. He does a lot with a little, Morgan does. He works so hard on his cars, and that's all I've ever known Morgan Shepard to do is race.
Yeah, that's all he knows, and that's all he wants to do. And Jerry, he was telling us yesterday, they brought this car here with a pickup truck and trailer, not a hauler. They had some issues there, and they brought this with just a pickup truck and trailer, the way that things used to be done a long time ago. But he's getting in a pretty decent lap here.
Yeah, if he can beat the 38, and he's done it. He's locked himself in the field, so good job for coming across country with a pickup truck and a trailer and a car that he was given by Kevin Harvick. This is the car that Kevin and Delana Harvick gave him, and even put the Dodge sheet metal on for, because everybody appreciates what Morgan Shepard is trying to do and they appreciate what Morgan Shepard did for them when they were coming up. So the car from Kevin Harvick, some free help and some volunteer people, and Morgan Shepard has qualified to race here at Gateway tonight.
Yeah, first lap felt good. He's getting some more in the second lap.
He surely is, and he's very appreciative of all the help that people give him. I talk to him in the garage quite often, and he is just so gracious and appreciative for the people that do help him continue to race. That's what he loves to do.
Not bad at all. 19th overall for Morgan Shepard out of the 37 cars that are presented for qualifying. So he's locked in along with Casey Atwood and Mark Green. Let's go down with Shannon.
Well, it's tough. It really is. And although it's only the 200 laps, it's a long 200 laps. So you got to conserve your brakes a little bit, conserve your car, make sure you don't burn the right front off of it. But I'm going to play on numbers. If it's my 11th start, I'm driving car number 11. Hopefully it's the magical start. It's what I'm hoping for. And I'd like to say hi to Deb and Joe and Jade back home. They're hanging out back home watching and expecting big things.
All right, well, he said 11 is his lucky number. Right now it's 6, Doc, and that's where he is right now on the qualifying board.
Yeah, leads all drivers in top 5s and top 10s here. Talking about Jason Keller, and of course, you know, 2 second-place finishes, 3rd twice. Here's Brian Keselowski. He is the older brother by just about 2 years from Brad, out trying to qualify the car that he owns, his Dodge, and he is currently 23rd overall, and he will lock himself into the field. Second start of the year in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Used this win a year ago and that momentum to launch him toward a pole at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Brickyard, where our coverage begins next weekend. Justin Hobgood on the clock for the car number 91.
Like he's tracking himself in the green just till he gets to turn 3. Loses a little bit of time to Chapman, which is his teammate, I might add.
Yeah, if he's got to beat Johnny Chapman a 34.86 to get himself in, but that's the good news. The bad news is
that's his teammate.
He bumps his teammate.
And he does not get in with that lap, so that should lock in Johnny Chapman. Well, that's the first time. He's got another shot here.
Yeah, he's got a shot.
Still
here.
got another shot.
Yeah, and the track temp has come down a little bit more, Andy. We started at 136, as we told you earlier, down to 117. So that's pretty significant right now for these guys that are trying to drive their way in on this qualifying lap.
And also we got Jamie McMurray coming up here in just a couple of cars. He'll have a shot at the pole. He's probably the last car that Reed Sorensen's worried about.
Yeah, Justin Hobgood's made a good adjustment here on his second lap too. That's going to get him into the show right now.
And he does it, DJ. You made the call. 34.71. Where did that come from?
Well, I think he probably messed that first lap up just a little bit. Adjusted.
Yeah.
Got it back on the second. Shannon?
Yeah, guys, standing up on top of the 40 pit stall right now, you can see Brad Parrott. They are basically watching the cloud coverage.
You saw how the track temperature is coming down. And again, the race comes up at 9 o'clock Eastern time of night. Much cooler. And here is Curtis Davis in the J. Robinson on Chevy. He's got to get this car in time and speed. And talk about bouncing. Now, this car is really moving entering the corner.
That's a harsh setup. Those cars running this coil-bound setup, and that's what makes it so hard to work right, because you want those springs collapse on each other, but you got to have the car where it will drive over the bumps, and that's what makes it so hard. It's easy to get the car down, but it's hard to make the car drive well over the bumps. Yeah. This car's not handling the bumps very well.
No, he got himself into the show on the first lap, though, but you could see earlier in that lap that he had a really good cushion, as he does right now. It'll be interesting to see if he adjusts some going into turn 3. Now, that car bouncing that much, it's going to be hard to make that adjustment, but he makes it through there better, so he's going to get himself a better starting spot for tonight's race.
Yeah, he's got a good lap going here. He's already locked in on that first lap, but he moved way over on the sheet. He's over 18th spot with that second lap.
They had a lot of tape on there too, as you can see a little bit of steam coming out on the right front of that car where the overflow.
Yeah, he is the second fastest now of all the cars that have to qualify on time, next to Casey Atwood. So good run for Curtis Davis. His dad, Johnny Davis, owns a couple of cars here in the series. Now here's the car that has to get on time and speed, but it is Gateway International Raceway here in Madison, Illinois, along with Shannon Spake, Mike Massaro, Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie. I'm Jerry Punch. Glad to have you with us for NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying. Here's Ruben Pardo, driver from Mexico City, Mexico, former NASCAR Camping World East Series Rookie of the Year back in 2006. an accomplished road racer, but trying to get more and more oval track time, and this is a good place to learn here on a flat track here in St. Louis.
It's the second car for Armando Fitts' team, and this guy does a pretty good job of qualifying the car. Ruben does. He doesn't get a lot of time on the racetrack and racing, but he does a good job of qualifying. He locks himself in there with that first lap, and that bumps out Andy Ponstein.
By the smallest of margins, but the main thing is he's going to race tonight and get experience now to see what it's like to go for 250 miles, hopefully.
And while you watch Ruben qualify, let's check in with a guy who's got to be really happy right now, crew chief Pierre Cattell.
That's right, second race with his 17 team, first race with Jamie McMurray. So tell me, how much were you holding your breath during that second lap?
Man, qualifying's always tough. I get up, just my stomach knots up and everything. Even when, I was on the 60 and we were in the show, it was always a tough thing. Qualifying is the most painful 2 minutes I think I go through in the whole weekend. But it's great. All the guys did a great job. Jamie is doing a fantastic job for us, so it's a good feeling. It's good to be up top.
All right, well, right now it looks like that number 17 has got his first pole. PK on that 17, guys.
And if you're not familiar with the story, Pierre Cattell and Drew Blickensderfer were crew chiefs and swapped positions from the 17 to the 60.
And that's Jack Roush is one of the smartest guys I know as far as an owner. He took some two guys and they were not having the greatest of success, and switches them. Automatically he's got now a win with the 60 car and a pole for Jamie McMurray.
Pardo 34th overall, and that'll be enough to get him in. The next car to attempt is Nick Tucker in the 57 car. He is the cousin to Derek Cope and a full-time employee.
I don't believe they're going to be able to fix that car.
No, the car owned by Mike Egge. I start saying Nick is a full-time employee for Gillette Evernham Motorsports, and that one's going to take some work back at the shop.
Yeah, that's too bad right there. It shows you just how hard it is to get these cars qualified. You just have to drive down in the corner, hope it sticks.
Yeah, and he got really down into the corner really, really hard there. And it's just, you run out of grip with the tires. You see he was trying to let the car roll through there as much as possible and just gets away. It's a hard lesson for a young man.
Tough break for the young man trying to break into the NASCAR Nationwide Series, and what has to be beaten. Here's the last car to go out to qualify. That is the 31 of Kenny Hendrick, and based on practice times, Kenny should not be able to beat Jamie McMurray, but stranger things have happened.
Well, he got real loose in the same spot we just saw Nick Tucker crash his car. So the track's slick down there for some reason. So far, Kenny Hendrick's going to have to pick it up a little bit now if he's going to get in this show. Got to beat Brad Baker.
He does that through 3 and 4 right now. As you can see, he picked it up. He got back to the throttle really good.
He does it. He bumps out Brad Baker, gets in the field in 37th spot so far.
Nice job for Kenny Hendrick. He grew up as a road racer and a short track racer out in California, driving the second car owned by Stanton Barrett.
There's 1 and 2 getting some problems, but he's going to have 200 laps tonight to figure that corner out just a little bit better.
If he makes it through here, somebody needs to tell him to screw. Whoa, now, don't wreck this car. We're already in the race. I was going to say, his crew chief needs to tell him that, hey, we're in here. Don't wreck it.
Yeah, we're here. We're not going home unless you mess it up. There, a checkered flag. Thankfully for Kenny Hendrick, he gets a checkered flag, gets to slow down. So the cars that will not make it are the 37 of Brad Baker, 02, and that is Ponstein, Andy Ponstein. The 84, that's Kevin Lepage, and the 57, the damaged car of Nick Tucker.